What's up guys? Today we're going to be checking out a speaker from Soundcore. This is the X600. So shout out to Soundcore for sending this over for me to review. Thank you guys. Once you get the package in, you'll have the box only, and then inside the box you will get a very small USB-C cable. And that's pretty much it that comes in the box. Once you unbox the product, you're going to be greeted with a very portable size Bluetooth speaker. It's got a very nice build to it. It's mostly all plastic, like the body's plastic and the top half is plastic, but the handle itself is made out of solid aluminum, so it does have a very premium feel, and it's also pretty light as well. I'll put the dimensions and the weight on screen. But what you'll find on the front of the speaker itself, you'll find 5 speakers. You've got 2 woofers in the front, and then you've also got some tweeters up here in the upper corners. And then there is a center driver right on the top of the speaker itself, which is also full range. This is like I said, this is a 5-channel speaker, so there are 5 separate amps in it with a max power rating of 50 watts. There are also grill openings on the entire front half of the speaker. Also back here, you will find a little waterproof sealed enclosure here, or flap, where you will see the USB-C input. And then there's also a 3.5mm headphone jack or auxiliary jack if you want to plug in your phone from its own headphone jack or some other external device into the speaker itself. And then once you close the flap, this does have a waterproof IPX rating of 7, so you could bring this into the pool if you wanted to. So let's spin this back around. On the top of the speaker itself, you can see that this has nice flush buttons. So this does have a soft rubberized texture to it. So if you were to bring this outside in the rain or whatever, it wouldn't creep into the individual buttons if there were individual buttons. Instead, it would rain on it and then just kind of like slide off. So this rubber does give it some more waterproof ability. On the top here, you will find the power button, the Bluetooth button, which if you press it once, puts it into pairing mode, and then the light will start flashing once it is in pairing mode. There is the spatial audio button. You can press that on and off, and then there is an extended bass button as well. On the opposite side, you get the volume keys for down and up, and then also the play pause button. So if you press it once, that'll play pause. Press it 2 times, that'll skip ahead. And then if you hold down the play pause button, that'll go back to the previous track. So one of the main features of this speaker is of course going to be the spatial audio, which you can turn on and off by that button there. So this will give the speaker an extended kind of sound field or sound stage, which will engage the top center speaker just to give it a more immersive feel to it. This does have a 6400 milliamp battery. It is rated at 12 hours. By giving it a full, I'm going to say about 4 or 5 hour charge, you should get up to 100%. And along with the spatial audio, this is capable of high res at 24-bit 96K. So this does sound like a pretty impressive speaker. Let's go ahead and grab this thing. Let's take it outside and see how loud it'll play. So here we are outside in the park, which I think a lot of people are going to use this speaker for. So if you're going to have like a barbecue or a family outing or something like that, this little speaker might do the job for your entire entourage. So let's play a little song, see how loud it goes. Might be a little hard to tell on this video, but it's actually got a lot of bass. So if you press the bass button, there's a bass button on top of the speaker, which will amplify the low end. And within a kind of a short radius here, if you do amplify the bass, you do kind of get a nice low end presence within the vicinity of the speaker. The further you move away, obviously you're not gonna get that much bass because we are outside. But I do think one of the main selling features of the speaker is gonna be the spatial audio. Obviously, we are in a big space. The spatial audio is not gonna sound that great. So I think if we move this over to the house, maybe plug in up to the TV, at least see what that sounds like. Now, before we go any further, we should probably go over the Soundcore app. Once you open up the app, it should search for the speaker and it should pop up on the main screen. It'll say Soundcore Motion X600. All you've got to do is select on it and it should prompt you to pair it with your phone or your mobile device. So here we can see that we have a few different options. We've got the play pause button right in the center there. We've got the volume slider. In the upper corner, we've got your paired speakers. In the opposite upper right corner, we've got your settings. So right now we are on firmware version 4.2.1. The sound mode, you can choose between LDAC, which will give you the high-res audio with Android devices. Or if you want a lower quality source, you can go ahead and choose combined audio and connection quality. But for this testing, we're just going to keep it on LDAC, which will give us the highest resolution audio for our listening tests. Go ahead back on out of that. We've got voice prompt for tuning the device on and off and Bluetooth pairing sound only. We've got auto power off between 5 minutes up to 60 minutes. We've got the update firmware, disconnect, and then we've got the user manual on the bottom. Also in the upper right hand corner, we've also got the on-off power. Another cool little feature is that on the very bottom, we've got some equalizer settings. There are some presets here. We've got the soundcore signature, which will give it a big boost on the bottom end and then kind of flatten everything out below that. We've got voice, which will kind of even flatten everything out, give it a more vocal presence if you're going to hook this up to your television or you just want to listen to a podcast or something. We've got treble boost, which gives it a slight, almost V curve, so a little boost in the low end, and then you can see how the treble kind of boosts up at the end there on the right side of the screen. And then balance is going to give you a more flatter response. On the upper right corner here, we've got the bass boost. You can see how that changes the bass response. It raises or lowers it. Or if you prefer, there is a custom setting where you get a 9-band equalizer from 80 Hz up to 13K. Before we pair the speaker up to the television, you're going to have to tap on the Bluetooth button on top of the speaker. Press it until it starts flashing blue. Now this might be different for your television, but for Sony televisions, you're going to go into accessories and then pair device. So here we can see that it says Soundcore Motion X600. We're going to click on it until it starts to pair. Once it's paired up, you're going to see that you'll get a nice little chime. Now we can see it's connected.
Who threw this thing at me? Shut up. Baby. Who threw this thing at me? Shut up. Baby. Who threw this thing at me? Shut up. Baby. Who threw this thing at me? Shut up. Baby.
You should be hearing this out of only the left side. You should be hearing this out of only the right side. You should be hearing this from both sides.
Keep in mind that besides using Bluetooth to connect up to the TV, you can also use the auxiliary jack in the back if you want to hardwire the speaker for a better connection. Now I think that most folks are just going to use this speaker for listening to music, but if you want better sound for your TV, it'll for sure sound better than your TV speakers. It's not going to compete with separate speakers or big soundbars with subwoofers, but for its size, you can think of it as a really small soundbar. It's going to sound its best in maybe a medium to a small size room. If you're placing the speaker underneath the TV with spatial audio turned on, not only does it emphasize the center image by boosting that top speaker, it also expands the soundstage outwards horizontally, which gives the speaker a much bigger feel. I think it sounds best with the spatial audio turned on, otherwise with it off, it sounds like a small Bluetooth speaker. And if you couldn't tell by the demo, this has stereo channels for actual left-right channel separation, so you will hear sounds moving from left to right and vice versa. Turning on the extended bass is also a definite must to give the speaker some extra body, otherwise it can sound thin with it off. This, of course, is user preference. Another huge benefit of being a Bluetooth speaker and connecting up to the TV, if you're someone that maybe has a hard time hearing or you want to watch your TV show on the big screen and not disturb the other people in the room, you can place the speaker right next to you for a more personal experience. At the time of this video, the soundcore X600 is selling for $199, which I think is a very worthwhile asking price for not only the build quality and the features, but most importantly the sound quality. You might think that getting good stereo separation is impossible within a very small enclosure, but with the spatial audio technology and that up-firing center channel, you might think that you've got another speaker in the room somewhere. And the center channel speaker does work really well for anchoring dialogue, especially if you're using it hooked up to a television for some TV watching or for some movie watching. And if you're using it as a speakerphone, it really makes your caller sound even better. So for $200, this is a definite win and something that I'll be carrying with me when I travel. Now, if you do want to grab the X600, I'll leave some links for it down below in this video's description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Like this video if you found it useful and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you again in the next video.